Hello, 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 hello. Please bear with me while I get through to everything. All right, I'm excited. Some technical difficulties to start off. Why not? Of course, the first ever stream that we're doing for the CBB college basketball weekend walkthrough. Give me some W's in the chat if everything's all good on your guys' end and you're excited to hear about what we got going. I'm going to read your comments the entire time. I'm going to preview all the best games in college basketball this entire weekend. And I'll read your comments the entire time. If you have questions, fire them through. I will try to bring them on screen and talk about what we got going. I'm going to talk about as many games as I can get through for the upcoming weekend. We got a lot of games today, surprisingly. I feel like non-conference schedules heavily index on the Fridays more than throughout the rest of the weekend and stuff like that. But really good games today, really good games tomorrow on Saturday, and we have some underrated ones on Sunday also. So I'm going to go through all of them. I will get to your questions also everywhere you got. So please bring it forward and bring the good energy because, again, technical difficulties did not help me out earlier on, but here we are. I'm going to double check with producer over here that we're all good. And we're going to get rolling here. So I'll read some questions real fast because why not? Is NC State like that? I think NC State is, it depends on like that is. I think they are like that for the most part in terms of being a dark horse ACC contender. I think Louisville not look shaky, but I have questions about Louisville in the front court and the consistency, the defense. Duke looks good, even in the bad offensive output with only Isaiah Evans kind of really showing up. I think Duke looks really good still. I think that Duke is going to be the best team in the conference. We're not live on YouTube apparently. Hold on, let me see this. Oh, we are live, but it's not in the right room. Look at this, producer Adam. We're live on YouTube, but we're not in the right room apparently. So, all right, you put in the chat and in the YouTube chat that we're in the other room. That's all you gotta do. I know I'm live. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. StreamYard was not helping me out very much with that. Anyways, back to NC State. Is NC State like that? I think generally speaking, they are like that. I think the defense is great. The balance is going to be great. The shooting looked great in game one. I know they played a really inferior opponent. Tonight they have another one. And we'll know more about them, I think, as they play power conference teams. I think next week they play someone decent. Is that correct? NC State plays UAB, not bad. Greensboro, VCU next week. Not next week. Monday, November 17th, the first real test for NC State. They have VCU, Seton Hall, Auburn. They also have Liberty, Kansas, Ole Miss in the non-conference slate. So we'll learn more about NC State, but I'd say for the most part, they're for real. They are everything that you're going to want out of them. I don't know what their ceiling is. Could they be a Final Four team for sure? If Darian Williams could be like that certified number one option. But again, the shooting looks great. Everything looks awesome. I'm going to keep getting to some more questions for a few minutes, and then I'll pull up some more of the preview cards that I have across the country. Let's see. Wisconsin thoughts. I feel like they addressed their needs in the portal and have experienced freshmen and depth incoming. Wisconsin, I feel like, is always an underrated team. Every single year, they outperform. Great guard teams outperform their expectations on paper. John Blackwell looked fantastic in their first game. So it's hard to say that they haven't filled their needs. I think that they used the portal and they made additions intently more than they have in the past year. So I like Wisconsin. I don't see a crazy high ceiling with them. I think it's similar to the past few years, but I think they're going to be good. And John Blackwell looks like he is a legit number one option. VCU, Utah State, we're going to get into that. Come on now. This might be my favorite game in the entire weekend. UNC, Kansas, Washington, Baylor, Alabama, St. John's tomorrow, which I'll be at. VCU, Utah State, I think is my favorite matchup of the entire weekend. Like, talk about just a good ball on both ends of the floor. It's going to be awesome. I'll get into that in a little while. Yes, we are live. Let's see this one. We'll get into Bama, St. John's also. John says, how many points does St. John's have to score tomorrow to beat Bama? Let's get into the preview because I want to talk through each and every one. Let's get into the preview here with St. John's, Alabama. Great one to start with. Let me get this banner out of the way. We're going to have to bring a mod on of some sort to help me out with this stuff. But anyways, nonetheless, Alabama, St. John's, first game of the preview. I won't go in order of when their games are happening. I will get back into the Friday night games in a second, but I think with the question, this is a good way to start rolling into it a little bit. Alabama St. John's at the Garden tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Someone called it Zuby Ejiofor Arena. Love that for St. John's, but realistically, this should be a shootout. It has got great potential to be a shootout. You look at some of the key stats and things to know about with Alabama and St. John's. We know how Alabama plays. They're super, super fast. They have a ton of great guards, even though the guards are banged up. Houston Millette played well in game one, and he played. LeBaron Fillon looked great, but Latrell Wrightsell, Aiden Holloway didn't play. I don't think Jaleel Bethea played in their first game against North Dakota. We got the graphics on deck. Yeah, hey, man. I came to play a little bit. All right. This line, I saw 6.5 when I put this together yesterday. I don't know if the line has moved at all. I don't expect it to move a ton one way or the other. I feel like this is a pretty accurate line. Realistically, this game has got potential to be run up very fast on both ends of the floor. Like, to me, St. John's defense could make Alabama a non-factor in a way. Alabama will still get theirs. But if you go back to last season, think about how St. John's played defense. They played physical. They played big. Every single thing that they did was abusive towards guard-centric teams. Now, Alabama is not just like a guard-centric team in a fast-paced offense. Like, they're Alabama. It's a little bit different, but I still think that is going to play a huge factor because the Alabama bigs are not great. They're not deep. They're not super physical. Taylor Bowen, Aiden Sherrill, like, are they going to be able to keep up with St. John's? I put it on here. They started Zuby Ejiofor, Bryce Hopkins, and Dylan Mitchell in their first game. Zuby's a monster. Dylan Mitchell looks fantastic. I think he's going to be a problem for Alabama for sure. And then Bryce Hopkins looks solid, good playmaking. I think this is a game where when they're focused so much with like their best wing defender on Dylan, they're trying to defend Zuby down low. I think this is a game that Bryce Hopkins can kind of get back to maybe what we saw at Providence a little bit in a way, at home in the Garden, like the first big game of the year for St. John's. Like, I think this is a huge opportunity for Bryce Hopkins. But overall, like, how does Alabama defend their bigs? They have to play up. They have to play up in size. I think if their goal is to run them out of the gym, it ain't going to work because it's their gym. And two, they play that style last year. Like, they're fine and comfortable playing these fast-paced games a little bit. So I don't think that St. John's is going to have problems with that. That's why I honestly think that St. John's is going to win this game pretty handily. Again, on paper, without looking at a matchup, I think they're not too far from being close to even teams. But again, Alabama shooting a ton of threes. St. John's has a great three-point defense. Alabama guards are banged up. They're probably all going to play, I hope, at least this weekend, and they were just kind of saving them for a big game. But their front court is not good enough to compete with the St. John's front court on an average day. And if they're having an above-average day or a perfect day, it's going to be a damn problem, in my opinion, at least for Alabama. Also, they're playing at the Garden. Like, it's going to be rocking. It's going to be awesome. It should be a fun game. There is a chance that if Alabama is just shooting the lights out and they're just on fire with the guards, if everyone's healthy, then St. John's has to keep up, but they have no problem keeping up. We'll see what we get from Ian Jackson, Isaiah Sellers. Like, the guards look pretty good. They shot the ball pretty well so far. They shot the ball well last season, so we'll kind of see what we get from that one. I'll pull up a couple questions about, I answered this before. Brian said, is the line posted? The line was 6.5 St. John's when I saw it last. I don't know what the over-under is, the total over-under, but someone can look at that there. Listen, not a gambling show, but I'll at least give my opinions on what's going on. Maybe we'll have a gambling segment at some point. I'm reading some more of your questions. Thoughts on Virginia Tech this weekend against Providence? What day is that game? Is that on Virginia Tech? There we go. I think it's on Saturday, right? They play Saturday. Okay. Saturday, neutral site. It's not really a neutral site. Let's be honest here. Saturday, neutral site is in Connecticut. I'm pretty sure that's Mohegan Sun game, if I'm correct. You guys can triple check me on that. But this is going to be a fun game. We talked about it on the podcast last week, actually. Virginia Tech, like Neokos Abdullah's Virginia Tech going basically into Providence territory in Mohegan Sun. Like, I was at a Providence game at the Mohegan Sun a few years ago. It's a home game. It's a small arena. It's all Providence fans. Not going to be many Virginia Tech fans there. Neo is used to playing in that kind of setting. He played at Panathinaikos. If you don't know about Panathinaikos basketball and Eurobasket, like, it is absolutely crazy there. That being said, it's a little different, especially for the entire Virginia Tech team. They didn't look unbelievable right away, but they look good. I think this will be a really good game. Also, one of my favorite games of the weekend. I don't have a preview card like this one I do for Alabama St. John's, but I think it's going to be a really strong game, and we'll kind of see what we get. We are top of the league, Coig. Hey, man, if you know, you know. Let's roll into the next one. Let's get into some games that are on tonight. I believe this one is on tonight. This is probably the biggest one of the entire weekend in terms of name, brand name, and awareness, and kind of overall viewers and watchers. 7 p.m. Friday night, ESPN. Well, for people who don't have YouTube TV, I guess you can't watch it, which I think is actually crazy, by the way. Nonetheless, Kansas, North Carolina, both ranked in the top 25. It's Kansas, North Carolina. They're in Chapel Hill, which I love. They're not doing a neutral site. I remember the game at Kansas last season. They were playing in Lawrence, Kansas. I think it was a Friday night also, because I remember watching it when I was in Arizona before I went to the GCU game on Saturday. Going to be an awesome game. This is probably one of the more even match games you'll see in the entire weekend slate amongst those top level matchups. Kansas side, I'm looking at Darren Peterson and Flory Badunga for sure. Flory looked like unbelievable in their first game. I forget who they played. It was someone not great, obviously, but Flory looked fantastic. Darren has looked like, they played Green Bay because Doug Gottlieb, the Green Bay coach, said that Darren Peterson is the second coming of Kobe or something like that. He says some wild stuff, but he's not completely wrong on that. Like Darren Peterson, to me, he plays like he's a sophomore or third year in the NBA right now. Like he's so good and confident and smart and polished. To me, he's the best freshman in the country, and I think he's going to win National Player of the Year this year. Like if I had to make a pick, that's my pick. He's that good. Flory, again, looks great having a sophomore season breakout. It's going to happen all year this year. I don't know if he's going to have what he put up at against Green Bay, but he's going to be awesome. That 1-2 punch is going to be tough for Carolina to handle. Now, on the Carolina side, they have Caleb Wilson. So everyone's going to be eyes on the freshman, Darren Peterson and Caleb Wilson, but they're both going to get theirs in some capacity. I think that Kansas will have more success defending Caleb Wilson than Carolina will have defending Darren Peterson. That being said, Seth Trimble's a great defender. I don't know if him enough is going to be enough to stifle Darren Peterson because they're going to put them in 1-2 ball screens. They're going to get Seth switched off of Darren. I don't know what defense they're going to come out in Carolina. I don't think Hubert Davis has shown a lot of like adjustment in terms of mid-game adjustment if things aren't going well early on with their defensive matchups and they're kind of getting Seth Trimble out of that matchup in those ball screens. But between Seth Trimble, Henry Vasar, that's going to tell the story. Can they defend the 1-2 punch of Darren Peterson and Flory Badunga? Because Henry Vasar had a really high foul rate last year. Flory Badunga is physical. He's aggressive. He'll draw fouls. And then can Seth stay on Darren and kind of shut him down a little bit? I am reading the comments to let you guys know. Again, I'm reading comments and questions. I'll keep pulling them up. I'm going to stick on the games for now. And then as I see comments and questions come in, we'll kind of put them in. UConn got the size to limit them. Liddy says, I don't really know. I don't have the full confidence that they do. They did look good in game one. I put it on here, 18 second chance points in game one. Now they're playing against better size, and it's not just Flory, Paul and Bia. Like they have good size on Kansas's team, solid size. They also have guys like Cole Rosario, who they call Captain America. He's like Bill Self compared him to Christian Brown. Like he's one of those versatile, do-it-all type of guards and wings, and he's just aggressive and tenacious. He's probably going to be the matchup on Kyan Evans, who also looked great for Carolina in game one. They're running Kyan Evans like their PG1, as he is their PG1, with Seth kind of playing a little bit of that role. Caleb gets a lot of on-ball role too. Like I like the balance that they have between those guys and Luka Bogovac and Vasar offensively, and they can kind of let one of those few guys run the show a little bit. But at the same time, their depth is not great. I think Kansas has enough pieces on top of Cole Rosario with Melvin Council, who I like, and Jaden Dawson, who didn't shoot the ball well in the first game, but I think is shooting, and I'm confident he'll be fine the rest of the season. They have a lot of playmakers on both ends of the floor, Kansas, and I think they're a very underrated team. I know they're playing in Chapel Hill, and that'll be a test for Darren and even Flory and guys, a lot of inexperienced guys in terms of playing at this level and on the road in hostile environments. But Darren's a guy I have no issue. I don't have doubt with at all that he's going to be awesome. He's going to be awesome doing that. That being said, if I had to make a pick, I'd probably go Kansas on this one. Carolina's favored by 1.5. The last time I checked, again, this is as of last night. It right now is 11:20 in the morning. So this is like, I don't know. It's probably like 20-ish hours, 16 to 20 hours ago. It was 1.5. It might have moved, but call it an even game in my book. I think it's a 50-50 when you give Carolina a little bit of the edge on points wise, being home and being in Chapel Hill. I think it was Norlander and Parrish on CBS Sports who said that Carolina hasn't played 5 straight home games to start the season in over 100 years. I like that's crazy to me if that makes sense. Side note, Kansas hasn't. Oh, this is interesting. Kansas hasn't lost to an ACC team since Duke in 2019. I don't know if that's true. Do not have the capacity to cross reference and check that right now. But if that and last time, I guess he's saying last time they lost to UNC was 2002. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't really take any of that into consideration for the most part, but take that as you will. Hey, we're not doing Arsenal slander right now. We are not doing Arsenal slander. That's Carolina, Kansas. Let's stay on Friday night. I mentioned it before. One of my favorite games of the entire weekend, VCU, Utah State. Now, let me say this. 2 things. Why are they playing in Frisco, Texas? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I try to talk about in the podcast, like Virginia is in not the Northeast, but like the East. Utah State's out West. If you meet in the middle, it's like St. Louis area or something like that. But then they just went south straight to Texas. I'm not really sure how Frisco, Texas came about. And then Urban Edge Network is a new place to watch college basketball games. Apparently, this is the first. I think it's the first Division I game that they're streaming on Urban Edge Network. Oh my God! So we got Flow Hoops. You got to sign up for ESPN Plus, Big Ten Plus, Fox Sports Plus, whatever they call it, and now you got Urban Edge. It's crazy. So, anyways, 8 p.m. tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern time in Frisco, Texas on Urban Edge Network. We will be there. Can't be worse than the CW. CW games are wild. Like I feel like they get ACC games on CW, like random ones. But VCU, Utah State, 2 of my favorite non-power and mid-major teams in the entire country. VCU is very different from what they have been in the last few years. Obviously, Ryan Odom is now at Virginia. It won't be crazy different. Like Phil Martelli, the old Bryan coach, loves to run a fast system. They scored 103 points versus Wagner. That was without Tyrell Ward, who's battling an ankle injury, which that's a big swing piece in this game for me because he could be their best player and likely might be their best player. So Tyrell Ward's injury is something to look out for. But VCU puts up 103 points against Wagner. Bryant was 6th in pace in the entire country last year. They shot 41% from 3 on 34 attempts versus Wagner in that first game. Again, grain of salt with the opponent they're playing. But story is they have guys that can shoot all over the place. They have spacing in the bigs. They have a lot of guards who can get to it. They're going to be aggressive. The defense is going to be interesting. And on the other side of the ball, Utah State, who's actually slowed the pace down a little bit. They were not good in the front court last year, where I think VCU is actually solid size-wise, especially if Tyrell Ward's going to be playing. They added Gary Clark, who had a double-double in their first game against a non-D1 opponent, I think it was, from Corpus Christi. I like his game a lot. They were terrible in defensive rebound percentage last year. I think that's something that VCU might be able to try to exploit because Gary Clark's like, I'm not going to say I think he's like 6'8"-ish or something like that, but he's not a natural big, and they don't have a ton of natural 5 size. Mason Falslev, I don't know. I didn't watch their game versus the non-D1 team. I'm just going to be honest with you for Utah State. I know Mason Falslev. I know a lot of the guys in this team. He didn't put up crazy stats in box score. I assume he just didn't need to because they're playing that kind of game. He is awesome. He's probably the best player on the floor. Barry Evans is good. If Tyrell Ward is playing, Mason Falslev will be the best player on the floor, so that's a huge point. They shot 51% from 3 in that first game. Again, not playing a non-D1 opponent is one thing, but if you're in practice and you're shooting 51% from 3, like against like scout team, whatever it is, that's still impressive. So shooting 51% from 3 even is fantastic against any opponent. They're 14th in the nation in assists last year, so their offensive system is going to be great. They're going to be swinging the ball around, swinging the rock, trying to take a lot of threes. If they can improve the size presence, the front court presence, the rebounding, and the three-point shooting can be at like a 40% this year or above 36, which was good last year, this is a scary team, Utah State, in my opinion. This game specifically, I saw Utah State -1.5. Again, I think it's fair. I think it's about an even game for me. If Tyrell Ward's not playing, I think I would edge with Utah State here. I like the pace control that Utah State has. They're comfortable playing against faster paced teams. They did it a little bit last year in the Mountain West. We'll see if Mason Falslev gets stifled a little bit because the VCU ball hog guards are good. They're tenacious. They're aggressive, and that's how Bryant likes to play. They have a little bit of size to frustrate him also, so we'll see how that kind of goes. I saw a comment over here. I live in the Dallas area. Should I go to the game tonight? I don't know about Texas geography. If Dallas and Frisco are close, you got no plans, why wouldn't you go? I think this is a great game. Legitimately, this should be one of the best games of the entire weekend, if not the best. I think it's got that type of potential, not only in terms of competition, but I think it's going to be just overall great ball to watch. And these are two teams who should be in the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. Utah State is right behind San Diego State as the second best team in the Mountain West for me. VCU, the A-10 is tough. Loyola didn't look good last night. They lost to, I forget who they lost to. Loyola lost to someone they shouldn't have lost to. I forget who it was. VCU, Dayton is good. St. Louis looks good so far. You could get more than one A-10 team in, but VCU is definitely one of those teams. So you could be looking at two teams who could be dark horses in March going into later in the year. You get to watch them now at a neutral site, like it's an NCAA tournament game almost. Hopefully Tyrell Ward plays. We'll see what we kind of get. Let's get into the next game real fast. I got 3 more to preview, and then we'll hit quick previews on games like San Francisco, Memphis, etc. I did Alabama. Saturday game. This is a good one. I like this one a lot. Number 14, Arkansas travels to East Lansing, Michigan. I had to get that right for a second. To number 22, Michigan State at the Breslin Center. I'm wildly excited for this game. I think that Michigan State, they're -1.5 in this game. That home court environment is going to be huge. On paper, to me, Arkansas is the better team. They're better matched up to win this game also. Michigan State has not shot the ball well for over a year now. They didn't shoot the ball well at all in their first game. It's alarming their poor shooting, but they were still a good team last year. They were able to take down some high level teams that even without their shooting. When their shooting gets turned on, it'll be great. But that being said, they don't have Jace. They don't have Jaden Akins. Trey Fort didn't play a ton. They need to play him more a little bit. Kurt Tang was starting, taking a decent amount of shots in their first game. I don't think that this team is going to be nearly as good as it was last year for Michigan State, even though they have a similar style. Jeremy Fears did look good. 14-point double-double with 10 assists is great. Jackson Kohler had a double-double. Those two being your best players offensively is alarming. Not to slight them at all, but they don't have that explosive kind of offensive firepower anywhere near what Arkansas has. And I think it's going to be a problem. Can Michigan State defend very well? Absolutely. They have a great defensive system and a great defensive team, but they need someone to step up offensively because Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas are unbelievable. 2 of the best freshmen in the country. They're going to have a big test playing at the Breslin Center, but those two dudes seem like they're kind of built for the moment, and it almost doesn't matter. I'm reading some of these comments too. Fierce has been more aggressive offensively. I already feel like, but I just don't think he has been, and that's good. I think you need a sharpshooter and a go-to scorer next to him because he's a better playmaking one guard. The front court for Michigan State is strong. Carson Cooper and Kohler, they played a lot. The Arkansas front court is very good, right? You think about the guys that they have between Malik Yu and Nick Pringle. Trevin Brazil looked really good in their first game, which was an easy opponent, but they looked really good and they looked strong. Even going back to last year, how they played against St. John's in the tournament, they're aggressive, Arkansas. They're fine playing against front court run teams and letting their guards go and win them the game. And that's what I think is going to happen here. Even at the Breslin Center, someone said it before that Michigan State shouldn't be favored. I understand it's at the Breslin Center, but I think it should be back the Arkansas way. They're a deep team. They're defensively better than the past Coach Cal teams that he's had, even going back to some of the Kentucky teams. I don't think it's going to be a massive issue for the front court. And I think Darius, Malik, DJ Wagner, even Billy Richmond, Carter Knox, they're going to go win them the game. Michigan State's defense is good. I don't think it's good enough to stifle and stop all the firepower that Arkansas has on the offensive end coming that way. And if Arkansas gets going, how does Michigan State keep up with them? In what world does Arkansas put up over 70, 75 plus, and Michigan State wins this game? It's a 0% chance. They need this game to be in the 60s, and they need Arkansas to be piss poor shooting the ball. We'll see kind of what happens there. I'm seeing the comments here. You guys are kind of with that. Hogs bench is super deep, definitely deeper than it has been in the past. Arkansas wins comfortably. What else we got in here? Hogs money line. MSU is favored. Arkansas money line. Listen, I'm not giving out gambling advice, but I would be on the same thing. I like this one. Here we go. I will personally ensure that the freshmen, I assume for Arkansas, cannot hear the play calls tomorrow. I just saw you say something before about your front row. Suit up to, where did you say? Here it is. I will be front row of the Izzone. I saw that. Listen, it's the students are great in the Breslin Center. I've never been there. It's probably one of the best environments for a game in the entire country. I do want to get there at some point. At some point, that doesn't matter to like it has impact, but it doesn't like there's a ceiling and a cap to how much crowd impact has. And if the guys are playing, they're playing. I think the Arkansas guards are all gamers. If anything, it almost feeds into them being competitive and ready for these big moments. So I like Arkansas in this game. Let's get on to a couple Sunday games real fast, and then we'll scroll through a bunch more. Indiana Marquette is an interesting one. I saw someone ask about Marquette before. This is, to me, a game of a lot of unknowns, right? Like Marquette is all Marquette guys from last year. Chase Ross looks great in his 2 games so far. He looked fantastic early on. I will admit that I was much lower on him having a breakout. Like it's not just the statistical production versus bad teams. He looks great, Chase Ross. He looks great playmaking. He looks comfortable shooting the ball and kind of creating on his own, putting the ball down and getting to it. I still don't think he's going to be a Cam Jones this year or a Tyler Kolek. But this is what they've done, right? Like they've had Tyler Kolek. They transferred him from George Mason, and he had a huge step up when he got to Marquette after a year. They have Cam Jones. He takes a huge step up with Tyler Kolek, but also after Tyler Kolek left, and he was great last year. Like they need Chase Ross to be that good for this team to be anywhere near those teams. But that being said, Indiana is not this team that you know a lot about either, right? Like Sean Jones also looked good for Marquette. I will say, could he be their point guard 1 with Chase Ross more as a combo? That kind of makes sense, even though he's a non-shooter. And that's kind of the story of the team. They shot 31% from 3 through 2 games, 32.5 from 3 all of last season. They do have a strong 3-point defense, which is going to be the story of this game for me. Indiana and DeVries have brought in all guys who can shoot. Lamar Wilkerson and Tucker DeVries hit 8 threes together. I think they were 4 of 8. Wilkerson and DeVries was 4 of 10 or something like that. They both shot the lights out from 3. And they have other guys who can shoot on their team between Tim Conaway is not like a sharpshooter, but Reed Bailey, like they brought guys in who can score and who can shoot. They have a lot of guys who are going to be able to play make. They had 7 players with 2 assists. Darian DeVries says that his son is healthy for the first time ever. Don't know how much I believe that or what that means, but nonetheless, there you go. The 3-point shooting for Indiana is going to tell the story here. It will be in Chicago this game at the United Center, I think. Either way, in Chicago. Marquette fans will travel decently. I guess it's kind of in the middle, right? Marquette fans will travel decently, but I don't think that – I think it'll be an Indiana crowd is what I'm trying to get at here. The Indiana crowd travels a lot, especially locally from Bloomington, so I think that'll be an Indiana crowd. If Indiana starts shooting well early, there ain't going to stop. The crowd's going to get behind them. They're going to be on fire. I like this Indiana team. I think they're just as good as Marquette. So I didn't get an odds on this because it's on Sunday. I don't know the odds on this. My guess is that Indiana will be slightly favored. I don't really know. It might be close to even, though, because of Marquette's perceived quality. I don't think Marquette's bad. I just think they have a clear ceiling to this team, and Indiana's offensive ceiling is much better and will outweigh that strong 3-point defense that we've seen from Marquette in the past. See what else we got here. My king, Chase Ross. Marquette still can't rebound. Yeah. Luckily, Indiana's not going to be like this blisteringly good rebounding team in size. But we'll kind of see what that gives. I saw this before. Don't forget Baller TV. Dude, the streaming platforms, I told you guys, I showed you before about Urban Edge Network for VCU and Utah State if you're just joining. Urban Edge Network, Baller TV, Flow Sports. My boy Cole Adams likes to say Leapfrog Plus is going to be one soon. But one more preview card, and then we'll do a bunch of other small ones too. Where is it? Sunday night. Maybe one of my favorite games of the entire weekend. Washington travels to Baylor. This game is going to be fun. Sunday night, 8:30 on ESPN in Waco, Texas. Again, it's Sunday, so I have no line. I love Washington. I love them. Hannes Steinbach has looked absolutely unbelievable for Washington so far. He's going to be a triple-double threat basically whenever he wants to. And he's the best player on this Washington team. And that's saying a lot, right? Because Zoom Diallo, Wesley Yates, Desmond Cloud, JJ Mandequit's a great freshman. Jacob Agnosovich, not healthy, but like their team, Kamari Peterson, SoCon Player of the Year from ETSU, I can't forget about him. Like with as good of a backcourt and team and depth that Washington has, Hannes Steinbach being their best player is a good thing. It's not like, oh, wow, the guards aren't playing well. They have a great backcourt, and they have one of the best young bigs in the entire country. I think he could be a lottery pick. He's so smooth offensively. He's a great playmaker. He can put the ball down. His shot looks great. But defensively, he's looked better than I anticipated him to. Again, this is going to be a better test because this is a better team than they've played so far. And then I think this game will tell us a lot about what we're going to see for Washington going forward in Big Ten play. Love the backcourt. Love the offense. Love Hannes Steinbach. Don't love the defense on this side. Don't love the defense on the Baylor side also. That's a team and a program that hasn't been good defensively, good enough by their standards for the past 2 or 3 seasons, if not 3 or 4. And this year it's probably going to be the same. 14.5 team stocks per game for Washington through 2, and then 11 team stocks for Baylor in their first game versus UT Rio Grande Valley. It should be a free-flowing offensive game. I think if both teams are kind of comfortable offensively, then they're going to be able to score the ball at will both ways. And it'll be a really entertaining and fun game to watch. Who is going to defend Tunde Yusufu on the Washington side? I have no clue. I don't know what they're going to throw at him between Wesley and Zoom Diallo and whatever, but he should be able to have his way. Justin Bodo still hurt. He did not play in their exhibition games. He did not play in their first game. Don't know if he's going to play in this game. I think you'll know more tomorrow and Sunday morning probably because it's a Sunday night game. That's going to be a huge piece of it. And then Cam Carr breakout from Tennessee he had 28 and 5 in his first game. Like, he looked fantastic. That's a huge piece to have someone with Tunde to be able to score it up at will. I'm reading some of your stuff here. Zoom Diallo coming off the bench, especially with Cloud out, says a lot about Washington's depth. Absolutely. Like, Wesley Yates, Kamari Peterson, I think are awesome, and those are their two best guards. Zoom is the one guy on the entire roster that was here last year, and him coming off the bench, being someone you can rely on, does say a lot. Desmond Cloud, when he does come back, like, this team is going to be absolutely crazy. So in Big Ten play, I'd definitely watch out for them. What else we got on this game? And nothing else on this game. Again, one of my favorite games of the weekend, Sunday night to wrap it up. It'll be a fun one, enjoyable one. I love that they're playing in Waco. I assume that they're going to play in Washington next year at Washington. I assume it's a home and home. Why wouldn't it be? But let's get on to, I have a window open somewhere. I want to share. Where is it? Window. Here it is. Okay. Let me go switch here. Boom. Actually, let's do this. I want to go over the other games in the weekend that I didn't go over more so far. This is Friday, November 7th. That's today. Georgetown, Maryland is a huge one. Oh, that was not right. Georgetown, Maryland is a huge one. You see it right here. I'm trying to highlight it for you. 6 o'clock tonight on FS1 in College Park. I think they're doing a gold rush. The students are going to be locked in for that one. This is the first real test for Buzz Williams' team. I think it's a pretty even matchup, to be honest, on paper. I don't think Georgetown is terrible. And I also don't think Maryland is that great. That being said, Georgetown's guards are not great shooters. Maryland's front court should be able to win this game. I think that's the huge advantage for Maryland. The size, the tenacity, the rebounding, and the style and the roster that they have should be able to offset the Vince Iwuchukwu and not much depth with him in the front court. Georgetown needs to win through guard play. I don't think it's going to be easy for them tonight, and I think it's going to be one of those games that's like, I don't know. It says over under 145.5. Like, I tend to think it's going to be a lower score than that. It'll be in the 60s, but you never know if it's going to be a close game. It could bump up into the 70s later in the game with the free throw battle and kind of, how the end of games kind of go. I do like Maryland in that game for the most part. I do want to hear what you guys think about all these games also. Hit the comments, and I will do a last few questions after I get through the rest of the games here. I went over Kansas, North Carolina. Oakland, Purdue is an interesting one. Anytime you can watch Greg Campy and Matt Painter face off, I think that's definitely a good one. Troy Furman is another good one. Another good mid-major battle. Furman, especially coming off the loss to High Point. They are playing at Furman. They're truly at Furman. It's a home game. I think this needs to be a bounce-back game for Furman, even though Troy is a good team. This is interesting. Wazoo's not a power conference, but they're playing at Davidson, which I think is super interesting. And then most of the other Friday night games, there's nothing crazy. A lot of power conference teams hosting some smaller schools, UConn, UMass Lowell. This one's interesting. Sam Houston State, not a great team, but they're not awful. They're not great. They're not great this year after the loss of Lamar Wilkerson. But Texas Tech, any chance you get to watch Texas Tech, I think is good. And this is interesting. Like SEMO, one of the better OVC teams. People are on them a little bit. Mizzou, definitely watch that game. Anytime you can watch Mississippi Valley State, why not? And I actually do love Murray State this year. They're a super fun team. I think Charleston Liberty is tonight, is it not? Am I blind? Here it is. I almost skipped past Charleston Liberty. I see it in the comments now. Thank you for keeping me in check. There we go. Charleston Liberty. Who do you think will control the pace? Definitely interesting class. Charleston and Chris Mack play one of the fastest styles in the entire country, and Liberty played one of the slowest. Like, I'm talking Drake level slow last year. They were that slow. Liberty has shown their ability to control games in that style more than Charleston has. And they're at home. Is that right? Or is it a neutral site, this game? Where is it? Charleston Liberty. It's at Liberty Arena. I think Liberty controls this game. I think it plays more to their style. It doesn't mean Charleston can't win, but I do think that it is Liberty's game to lose. They're, in my opinion, the best mid-major in the entire country in terms of non-Mountain West, WCC, A10, AAC teams. Great program. Love what Coach McKay does over there. He's been there for like 20 years. Their style is interesting. They're not big, but it's a crazy scheme. I like Liberty in that game because of the stylistic thing. Let's go on to this one's good, interesting too. By the way, I would tap into this late night. If you're up late night tonight, if you have ESPN Plus, Chattanooga at St. Mary's. Chattanooga, the Mocs are a dangerous team in the SoCon, and St. Mary's looked great versus St. Thomas in their first game. Saturday games other than the big ones. Alabama, St. John's, I mentioned that one. Princeton, Akron will be a good one. That game ended last year in a buzzer beater for Princeton. And Akron was great last year, too. They won the MAC. Akron's the best team in the MAC again this year for the most part. Penn State at New Haven is not on TV. That's it. That's a shame. There might be a stream on New Haven's website or something. But New Haven's second home game in D1 history. They're hosting Columbia tonight and then Penn State tomorrow at 1 p.m., which is wild. It's a 3-for-1. So Penn State goes to New Haven this time. New Haven goes to Penn State the next 3 years. That was their agreement. That'll definitely be fun to watch. Big Five games. You got the Philly matchups, Drexel and St. Joe's, which will be interesting. This is a great one. I need not even notice this is on this weekend. South Florida, very, very dark horse team in the AAC who everyone loves. And GW, a dark horse. I might have been picked to win the A10, but they're one of those teams in the A10 with Dayton and St. Louis and VCU who can win the league. They're that good. Their defense is awesome. Coach Chris Caputo has got something going on there for sure. Towson at Houston. Good luck to Towson, but they are a potential tournament team. It's them and Charleston in the CAA, maybe Wilmington, like they always are. But I like Towson. They're going to be interesting to watch. Don't think it's going to be easy for them because they're playing at Houston, but nonetheless, a good game to watch. PSU versus New Haven is televised for free on NEC Front Row. Boom. There you go. Thank you, OKO, because we needed that. And in the midst of an ESPN, Disney, YouTube TV crisis and streaming platform and premium subscription crisis in the world that we have today, this is great to know. This is great to see. So thank you for your service for getting us that information. Vandy UCF is a good one. Playing at UCF, that'll be good. Vandy is definitely a big dark horse team in the SEC. I don't think UCF is very good. So VCU. I want to see Vanderbilt kind of handle that game pretty easily. I talked about Providence, Virginia Tech a little bit earlier. IU Indy's on here. Let's go. Providence, Virginia Tech. I talked about it earlier. It's a Providence home game, even though it says it's a neutral game. It's in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. I think because it's across state lines, it can't be a semi-home game for Providence. It has to be a neutral game, which is crazy because this is going to be a Providence home game, and I'm very excited to watch that one. Where is it? IU Indy and Butler. Listen, IU Indy is like watching me play College Hoops 2K8. Another 85-plus point performance? Absolutely. IU Indy might score 100. Butler will probably score 110, that means. I have never seen it like IU Indy. People said, what about Press Virginia? What about Buckyball and Samford and Alabama style? Like the IU Indy style that they have from is something that is so much more reckless and like vulnerable than Press Virginia was. Like Press Virginia was something that was so schematically sound and like it worked on the power level. The way the IU Indy plays is literally like me playing a video game. I'm not lying. It's full 94 feet court press that can get beat like that. LIU Brooklyn started to figure that out. They had a lot of turnovers last night in that game, but it's either an easy two going the other way or they're taking the ball and forcing a turnover from you. They've scored like 92 points a game in their two games. They have forced 40 turnovers in their first two games. Like it is fascinating to watch IU Indy. So if you can at any point, this is a good game to watch for sure at Butler. It's like 8 a.m. AAU ball. It's honestly a great way it's like one of those teams that are terrifying that you watch warm up and they're just doing like traps and closeouts and 3-point shooting. That's all they would do. And it's like 7 a.m. and they're warming up early and they're there early. That's the type of team that IU Indy is. So that's pretty accurate. I would definitely watch that. Back to the Providence thing, a bunch of drunk PC friends loading up Mohegan Sun after the slots is electric. Yeah, I saw that when I was at the Mohegan Sun tournament a few years ago, and it was definitely interesting. What else we got? FAU at Charleston is interesting. They're playing at Liberty. It's like a little Liberty tournament. I like that a lot. FAU at Charleston after Charleston plays at Liberty the night before. Arkansas, Michigan State, I already talked in length about. If you didn't catch it, you can go back after I'm done and catch that on the YouTube video after this. What else we got in here? Chattanooga, UNLV is definitely a good one. 9:00 p.m. UNLV coming off the loss to UT Martin, our beloved Skyhawks. UNLV still on paper a decent team. Miles Che injury. It seems like he's going to be out for a while, maybe the whole season. I don't really know what the injury is. I just know he's indefinitely out. UNLV is still a good team, and they could figure it out by Mountain West play, but they're going to have to get it going because they lost to UT Martin. They got a good Chattanooga team coming into town. Then they're playing in Players Era in 2 weeks. So UNLV, they're going to have to pick it up and figure it out. Chattanooga playing 2 good games this weekend. And then late night, Oklahoma at Gonzaga. I like Gonzaga in that game. I think Oklahoma's size is not going to be able to compete with Gonzaga's size. And they should be able. That should be a high-scoring game going both ways also, and that is in Spokane. Let's do Sunday, and then I'll get into some questions before we bounce out of here. I mentioned Indiana Marquette. Already talked about that one in length. If you want to go back, you can see that also. Texas A&M, Oklahoma State. I saw someone in the chat asking for that before. This game could – what's the over-under? They don't have it yet. Damn. This game could be 92-90. Like Texas A&M and Buckyball. Go, go, go. Steve Lutz in Oklahoma State and formerly Western Kentucky is go, go, go also. They have a lot more scores on Oklahoma State's team. Texas A&M's got scores in the Mackenzie Mbako and Pop Isaacs and Achor Achor. Like, there probably won't be a ton of defense played in this game, but it'll be fun to watch. Sunday, 2 p.m. If you're not watching NFL games or you want to keep it on the side, this is definitely an interesting, a fun one to watch in the midst of a pretty decent Sunday schedule, which you usually don't get in the college basketball weekends like this. Most of the other games I mentioned, already talked about in length about Washington at Baylor. UT Martin is playing, but they're playing Kentucky Christian, so they should be able to handle that game fine, a non-D1 team. But UT Martin, if you haven't heard of them, you haven't heard about what's going on yet, 11 guys from different countries, 7 guys from JUCO. I think it's East Florida State, where Coach Jeremy Schulman had a bunch of those guys a couple of years ago. They're big, they're fun, they're crafty, they can score. They just won at UNLV. UT Martin is definitely a fun team to watch and someone to look out for in the OVC. Let's call it there for that. Let's hit some questions. Whatever you guys got questions at for this weekend, hit me, and we're going to get into it right now as I put the banner back up. Let's see questions. What game am I going to this weekend? Where'd it go? I saw it before. What game you hitting this weekend? Is it Maryland? No, I'm not hitting the Maryland game tonight, even though I would love to. I will be at St. John's, Alabama tomorrow at noon at the Garden. I did think about going to New Haven against Penn State because, like, someone said it well on TikTok. When are you ever going to get the chance to go to a game like that again? It's a great point. Getting to New Haven is a little bit more of a bitch, so it's not super easy. It will be fun to see what it looks like in the New Haven gym. Is 1,000 people it fits, I think. I think that's it, but it'll be super fun to see how that goes. New Haven pizza is also great, so maybe I should have reconsidered. I ideally wanted to hit New Haven if it was a day game and then go to the Garden, but the Garden, the St. John's, Alabama game is at noon. So I'm going to the easy one. Took the easy way out. I'm going to the better of the 2 games in terms of quality and high-level teams. I did not mention Memphis, San Francisco. Good catch. Thank you, Grace. I think that's Sunday, right? Memphis, San Francisco. I thought it was Sunday. I might be wrong. San Francisco at Memphis or Memphis at San Francisco? I don't know. Find it put it in the chat. Let me know. It might be Saturday, but that's a great game also. Coach Grilson in San Francisco told me when I was out there that they need to get to the NCAA tournament. They want to get an at-large bid. To do that, they have to play like 12 quad 1 games in the year, and the WCC doesn't offer that alone. So they try to schedule power teams. Power teams don't want to play San Francisco because it's a trap game for them, and San Francisco is a good mid-major team. So they have to schedule St. Louis, Memphis, other similar level mid-major teams. That's why you're seeing really good games like this. That'll be super interesting. Saturday at 2, not Sunday. I lied. Thank you, Grace. Saturday at 2 is Memphis, San Francisco. Definitely going to be a good team to watch. Memphis, Santa Clara. I did not mention that one. That's on me. That's tonight, I think at 10 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Definitely a good one. McNeese is the best team in the Southland. They're going to win that league again. And Santa Clara, as we've seen in the WCC, has been like not a bubble team, but like they're like a bubble of a bubble team. They're always like right on the cusp as like a top like 80, 85 team to look out for. West Virginia, Lehigh. West Virginia did not look great last night in their game. They should be able to still win this game and be fine. Rhode Island, Tulsa tonight. Yeah, there's a ton of games to look out for throughout the entire weekend. We are embarrassed with riches this weekend in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday games, which is going to be great. Any early season overreactions to take note of? I would say I talked about Washington before. I'm very high on them. Washington and NC State are two of the teams that I was like cautiously in on, that now I'm like, okay, I saw them play against bad teams and that was enough I needed to see. Like, it's like an eye test type of thing. I think Washington and NC State are two of the better teams to look out for sure. I'm not going to overreact about like Florida or Duke looking not good offensively. I think they'll be fine. But I don't have many overreactions. Like I was talking with the sleepers guys about all the freshman debuts and like who to be worried about, who to not be worried about. I don't have many overreactions because it's so early on in the season. And I don't think it's valid to react so quickly. That being said, after this weekend, I think I'll have some overreactions that maybe won't be so overreaction. I'd say Oregon also on the negative side. Someone said something about our boy Waylon earlier. He's not looked good early on. I'm not going to lie to you. But nonetheless, Oregon hasn't looked good. I don't feel confident in that game. Utah State, VCU in Frisco. I talked about it in length before. After I'm done with the stream, you can go on YouTube and watch the entire stream back. You can go find the Utah State and VCU segment. You can see us talk through that entire thing. Here we go. Here's the comment. Zach, spot on timing. Thoughts on Oregon and Waylon's struggles in game one? I think he shot like 0 for 7 from the field. Nothing I can really say about it. I hope the shooting starts to fall a little bit. He's going to have to keep shooting and playing because of Shellstad's injury. I don't know when he's coming back yet. But Oregon didn't look great in their first game. Who did they play? They almost lost that game. I think it was like last night or a couple nights ago, but didn't look great. They escaped with a victory. I guess that's all that matters for the most part, but not ideal for Oregon. What is your wish list of CBB arenas you want to go to, ones you haven't been to yet? Purdue and Mackey, I'm going to this year. I'll be there for the Iowa State game this year. Hawaii, good call. There you go. Oregon almost lost to Hawaii. Shout out the Rainbow Warriors. But Purdue and Mackey, I want to go to, and I'm going to this year. Cameron Indoor, I haven't been to. Allen Fieldhouse, I haven't been to. What else is awesome? The Pit, I haven't been to. There's a ton of D1 mid-major arenas. UD Arena at Dayton, I haven't been to. Like games like that I really, really want to go to. Bloomington, I want to go to Indiana. I want to go to Hinkle Fieldhouse. Like I haven't been to a lot. I am going to keep my list of the game day rankings, which right now I have like GCU, Baylor, Iowa State, Maryland, and like Wisconsin and UNC, I think, as the top ones. I'm going to keep track of that as I go and travel to more places. I'll see you in Mackey. I'll see you there on December 6th. That's going to be a fun weekend. Big Ten football championship. Also, pull up to a Duke game. Listen, I'm going to try at some point, but I am very strategic with my travel and where I go and when I go. Breslin Center, great call. Have to go to Breslin Center, even Chrysler. I want to go to all the Big Ten arenas. Better than actually losing to Hawaii Pacific. Yeah, it's beating Hawaii by 1, or I think it was, is much better than losing to D2 Hawaii Pacific. So shout out to Boise State for doing that. I think that's going to do it for us this week, at least. I appreciate y'all for tapping in and tuning in for the weekend walk-through. Thank you for bearing with me through some technical difficulties and adjustments. First time doing it. It was a little makeshift. I'm going to do this every single Friday, probably 11 a.m. or noon. I think we'll keep it at 11 a.m. Eastern time for now. The video will be up on YouTube afterwards, so you can go and rewatch that. But genuinely appreciate you guys being here, supporting on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever you're watching. Again, we will refine the details and make it better as we go on. And I think we're going to look into bringing on some guests also to do a little two-man show and make some picks maybe and add some segments to this throughout the season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for real. No hezzy. Appreciate y'all for real. Means a lot. Hope you have a great week and enjoy the weekend of college basketball. We will be back next Friday for this Monday podcast, Blue Blooded. Don't forget to go check that out and check out everything on socials. So there we go. Appreciate you again. Have a great weekend. Bye.